Sufficient. Hopefully.
You're sufficient.
Wow.
Thank
Brutal. Alright, so me and Naz we've been trying to figure out a name for our anime club because he's like, oh, anime club's too boring. And we went through so many iterations and I'm like, you know what, fuck it, let's just call it Dragon Collar because it's the name of the Discord and all that.
We're not doing it, what Birchall said?
What? Well, that's already owned by someone else.
Yeah, I know, but it's so
like,
cool.
Yeah, I know, but you can't, like, make a YouTube channel or whatever and use someone else's name for their company that they've already used for something.
Okay, so we'll tell them what it is.
Because Birchall had the idea. He's like, oh, what about Kawaii Kaiju or Kawaiju? And then he's Googling it and he's like, oh, wait, never mind. Someone already has that.
So Dragon Collar's unique?
Yeah, well...
Just use that?
No, you search Dragon Collar, the only thing that comes up is some companies... Japan's got, like, this flavour of Coca-Cola that they call Coca-Cola Dragon something.
Oh, I never made the connection between Coalition of Lost Adventurers and cola, as in Coke.
Yeah.
Dragon Cola.
Which it has now become, like, Naz even, like, drew, photoshopped, like, a Coke can with
I was
like...
wondering what that was. Oh my god.
The dragon from though?
I just looked up dragon.
Is it?
Like, how do dragon?
Well, because me online username's always been Arcturus Drake, because Arcturus is the brightest star seen in the night sky. Well, more from the northern hemisphere, but it's still the brightest star seen from Earth. And a drake is a flightless dragon.
Well, specifically one that doesn't have wings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was that mostly.
And because I like astronomy and because I like dragons, it sort of fit.
Yeah. Also, who the fuck doesn't like dragons? What's that Dragon Maid anime? That shit's awesome. Give me more of that.
Oh, well, you're going to enjoy next week's selection of the anime, which we'll get to at the end of this. So,
Didn't this studio burn down, didn't they? That's
we're not watching Dragon Maid, we're watching something else.
Oh damn it. Oh wait. That's the Dragon Girls House thing.
Yeah, that.
Yes, I like that.
Right.
I like the sound of that one.
Episode 2 of Dragon Collar podcast. So we watched Shadow's House.
Yeah, Shadow's House. First 3 episodes.
I love how we're all silent because we don't know what to say.
It's
And Milliko is adorable.
Yeah, she feels in that like ditzy. Girl.
She's so accident prone. Made me laugh so much.
Yeah.
That's a plus for me.
So in Shadow's house you got like mansion that's filled with all these shadow faceless puppet people, and then they have these things called puppets that like dolls that act as like their essentially their face at like their family gatherings or whatever, and like their personal servants and the stuff, and clean their room and all that crap. And yeah, to be honest, I struggled getting through the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I feel like their faces are the opposite of the shadows. Like, you see how the shadows are always negative and like gloomy.
Well,
right?
sort of. I mean, you're talking about emotionally?
Yeah.
Emotion part of it.
I get like there's that.
Like, have you noticed they're all like complete opposites?
Sort of. I mean, I can see like the silver-haired girl who like she's getting like tormented. Clearly, she's getting tormented by her fucking shadow master or whatever. And she's like got scars all over her and shit, and that's really horrible. But like, she seems very two-faced, and I'm not sure if that's like an outcome of that or like representative of whether they're quite opposites of each other. Like physically, definitely, because they're direct. Like the shadow person's just a silhouette of the other person.
Yeah.
Like even down to the hair and shit.
What do you guys think of the art style?
It was standard anime art style.
Yeah. I'd say so. Yeah, like standard like.
It wasn't like
it wasn't
red
mind blowing,
like,
but it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Like it was somewhere in between.
It was good. It was definitely not bad.
Yeah, it's not like I wouldn't say this was bad at all.
So, like there's some definitely like shocking ones out there, but like this was like on par.
Yeah.
I'd say with like newer release anime and whatnot.
What studio was it?
It was. Get off my screen. It was Cloverworks, and they were licensed by Funimation and Aniplex.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
They split off from A1 Pictures, by the way.
Yeah.
And then their own company.
Wasn't A1 Pictures the one that
That's what online is.
That's what that was? Who's the who?
I think they did
Yeah,
some-
actually, yeah, it did sort of have a sort of Sword Art Online sort of
Yeah.
similar art style.
It's just like the size of the eyes compared to like the roundness of the face sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like how clean the lines are and everything. Yeah. I had some issues watching that. Like you said, like the first 2 episodes or whatever, like was that because of boredom or was that like, you know,
A
nothing was
little
going
bit. Like, I just felt like the first 2 episodes, like, it was just so slow and not much was really happening, and
on? Yeah.
I don't know, I couldn't really get into it. And then the 3rd episode, where the thing happens in the 3rd episode,
We've all seen it. Just like,
Yeah.
I was like,
It's more
oh.
for the viewers.
Yeah.
oh,
So they spent the first 2 episodes, introducing the world, introducing more characters, introducing like what this
What the
world
plot actually is, yeah.
Yeah, and then they introduced a monster. They introduced some future antagonists. They introduced some
It did say in the genre it was slice of life, supernatural, and I forgot the other one. But like, I was watching the first 2 episodes and I'm like, how's it supernatural? I like probably the silhouettes, I guess.
Yeah.
It kind of gives a not a negative feel, like a gothic feel to the whole scene, because like you got the dark side of the room where the dolls live, and then you got the open window lounge room where the shadows sit and
Yeah.
stuff.
It's like they're all underground. All the
Yeah, it seems to be
the
like
dolls.
ground floor probably, or like the center of the mansion, and then
they live under.
yeah,
the
they
living
leave
quarters.
from that area to
Yeah.
And then they
Help
sleep
the
in
shadows.
the coffins in the basement.
yeah.
That's
oh,
fucking.
I feel like that's a doll like box. Like you get a doll in a box. That's what it's
It's got
representing.
bars.
Yeah,
on it,
but
though.
like, you got that scene at the very start of the anime where like they've got all the dolls lined up and they make them drink something, and
Yeah.
then they're like, "We are all dolls," blah blah blah.
Okay.
So I have a feeling that they were regular people, and then they've just been like kidnapped or
That's-
whatever and made to drink this
Oh,
potion that's like
yeah.
essentially lobotomized them.
That is exactly what I'm thinking. That's the problem I'm having with this anime. It's like, okay, these are clearly. I mean, these are people that dragged off the street or whatever. Like they say some of them can read and write from the first outset. Some of them are just like, yeah, whatever, I can't. And then it's these people, and they look like people. They sound like people. They learn. They think. They eat. They whatever, and they're
Okay.
getting treated like property,
Mm.
and that's not sitting well with me because that's.
Yeah.
You know, slavery and whatnot. And like, I just like they've got all these songs and stuff where it's like, oh yeah, we enjoy cleaning and we must like serve our masters and whatnot and like make sure they're happy and make sure that we're loyal to them because we find happiness in the loyalty of our stuff and like.
It almost gives me Spartan 2 sort of vibes from Halo. It's like a bunch of children kidnapped and then indoctrinated to essentially serve.
Yes, except the Spartans are badass.
And these children
yeah.
are just children. Just, oh yeah, you're now servants.
Oh, yeah, the fact that they're just like forced to clean and serve after everything, it's like there's being trained into badasses and given a career in wiping the floor with aliens versus eating shit food, cleaning shit off the ceiling and the wall and the whatever all your life, and it's like soot or whatever, and like there's a mystery to it or something, but it hits a different tone with me. It really does. At the very least, like the Halo games don't put into the spotlight, hey, these kids are really, really like. Yeah, these Spartans were children that were forced, like, taken from their homes and replaced and whatnot. But Anyways, getting off track. But like, yeah, it just doesn't sit well with me, that that aspect of...
It's mysterious.
Yeah.
And foreboding.
It probably will get better in later episodes, but we're doing a 3-episode watch.
See, something I find curious is you look at the genres as well, and it says it's a seinen, which is anime made for adult males, not like teenagers like shonen is. So, makes me think it's going to get a lot worse later on, maybe.
Yeah,
Because
well, I can see that.
from what we saw in the first 3 episodes, nothing there really would put it in the seinen category. So,
Well, maybe that when was her name Sierra got taken by the monster, that was kind of scary.
yeah, but even still, that's
Yeah, it's a bit
It's
upsetting.
not like
that's still like
scary,
the
it's
sort of
just
thing
like-
that happens in shonen. Because I'm pretty sure, and if I look it up,
To be fair, like, as much of a monster as and like what it did to her and whatnot, like that was pretty tame. Like,
Oh,
they
it's
defeated...
afterwards that was a bit unsettling.
Oh yeah. That
Yeah.
that was a bit like, oh, okay, what's happened to her? But yeah, they were able to kill the thing by throwing water onto it. Like,
Why would she need to drink water if she's a living doll?
To
to flush
clean
out her
her-
systems.
yeah.
Yeah.
like
If she's a doll,
oh yeah, like they're told maybe like the
why do they have to
even if they were taken off from the street or like they were created like a human, like from human parts or whatever, and like
maybe they just call them dolls,
that,
but they're
yeah,
humans.
they're just
That's my
named
theory,
dolls.
yeah.
Yeah.
this is just me being the degenerate that I am, but it kind of reminds me of there's like a porn genre that they're like dolls, and essentially they just stand there while the other person essentially does what they want to them.
I don't think it's that far.
That. Oh God.
Well, it could be that sort of same sort of description of what a doll is. So they're essentially just someone that's just meant to stand there and picking up the AC. Oh,
I don't get that. Like, mess around with a doll or whatnot. Get like you can buy those like massive human shaped dolls or what, not massive but like human size, and then just do whatever you like. If you're inviting someone over to your house, you make them dinner, you get them all this nice stuff. Yeah, invite like lead them
But
on
yeah,
like that, and then they just lie there. No.
The shadows, the nobles, whatever, they have debuts with their dolls as coming of age presents. or whatever.
That's a
but
different
the
issue.
thing is, right? You look at the silhouette of the shadows, right?
Yeah.
And the silhouette of the shadow, height, everything matches the doll that's meant to represent them.
Yeah, it's an exact replica.
So it almost seems like possibly the shadow could be like they've somehow split the doll's soul out of their body or something, and like the shadow is the doll's soul or something like that.
Yeah.
In some form, maybe.
Or maybe that's the thing that they drank at the start. Like, sure, it also like wipes their memory and like makes them think they're dolls or whatnot. But it also like, oh, they drink it and then like something comes out and it gives shape to the shadow or whatever, because it's like a linking thing. Maybe it's like
because
liquid soot.
the shadows are like constantly emitting soot, especially when they're bored.
Yeah.
Like more so when they're bored than when they're like
when
having fun or whatever.
Intense emotions like negativity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that's got to do with, because there's the one scene where Emilico sleeps in and then she's late to serve Kate, who's her master, and she walks in and there's soot everywhere and she's like, you're late, I had a bad morning, whatever. And then like she's like, I'm gonna go clean up, you clean up all this soot, whatever. It almost seems like, because they've been apart for like longer than they should be, she's like emitted more soot than normal.
That wasn't because of that. It's because earlier that like the night before they'd agreed like, yeah, we're both gonna get up early and we're both gonna like
study.
Yeah, we're gonna study so that I can teach you how to use the alphabet. And then when she didn't show up because she slept in, Kate was like, well, I woke up early. I was expected to wake up early, as was she, and she didn't show up. So hey, I'm gonna get really mad. Like she got like stood up by her quote unquote slave.
That
so.
night, Emilico fell asleep outside the coffin. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she did.
She wasn't in the coffin.
Yeah. That's another. I don't like that fucking coffin thing. It's like, okay, you imagine it's like you go to sleep. It's like, oh yeah, you return to your room, your bed or whatever, but it's like the cardboard box that like an action figure comes in.
We could say the same thing for Mars Red when that the A1 guy, not A1 guy, the A grade vampire. He's like, I couldn't sleep, and he was in a coffin.
Yeah, but that's going back to the vampire mythology, because in vampire mythology they need to sleep in a coffin, otherwise they die.
Yeah. Sorry about that. There's a difference between a vampire coffin and a suitcase. Like.
We should start to wrap this up.
We'll talk about this more later, just because we've got some coinciding events and whatnot.
Yeah, we're gonna do the challenge as well.
Yeah. We can do the ratings when we come back, like how we thought of it and everything.
Well, it's going to take him a couple of minutes to get upstairs, so we'll quickly do the rating and whether or not we continue or drop it. So, Michael, what do you give it out of 10?
Like animation and music and whatnot, like, yeah, it was kind of substandard, and I wasn't too interested in the plot. Like, I'm not a big mystery supernatural guy. Like, I very much like my old school mechas. I don't know if I'd watch it again. I'd give it like a 4. Like, I wasn't too into it, but that's just me, like personal taste and whatnot.
Griff?
I quite liked it from the first episode to the third episode, and I got even more interested after I saw more of the Shadow Nobles, and I really want to see where the story ends up from episode 3 onwards. So I'd give it a 7.
Yeah, fair enough. Like, that's a lot different from
Naz?
Yeah, first 3 episodes. Like music, like the anime style, but plot was slow for me. I'm just gonna give it a 5 for now.
So I'm sort of the same, on the same sort of point as Michael. Like, I felt it was really slow and like nothing was really happening, and then if it wasn't for the events of episode 3, I'd probably give it a much lower score than what I'm giving it. So I'm giving it a 5, but I'm probably not going to continue watching it.
Well, considering we looked up the rating for it, a lot of people gave it a high rating.
Yeah, a lot of people were giving it 9s or 10s. So
they watched the entire series.
Yeah,
though.
Exactly. So it could get better.
It's up to episode 4.
So you think that 9 point whatever rating is due to this 4th episode? Like something dramatic
The
happens?
3rd or 4th episode, maybe.
Didn't like 9,000 people.
Yeah, it was like 9,000 reviews, and the average review, or the average score on my anime list is 7.58 of 9,500 reviews.
Have we considered that maybe they've given it such a high score because, like, purely because of character design? Like,
Could be.
Some people do that.
Or they're literally doing what people did with School Days when School Days came out, and purposely giving it a really good review even though they didn't really enjoy it, just to like troll people. So there could
That's
be
a rarity though.
there could be that, but we don't know.
Well, do you remember the
we'll
Naxaki
probably,
thing?
because Griff said he's going to continue watching it. We'll see if his
we'll go back to
point of view changes on it, and we'll go back to it eventually and see what he says, maybe in a couple of weeks. But
yeah, give us your review when it's done. I'll continue watching something a little bit more appetizing.
I'll take some notes.
Yeah.
Should we do a quick challenge thing or?
no, we'll do the challenge after mysterious Mr. Five leaves.
Yeah. After a short break, and definitely because of the recording, but yeah. Oh, I mean, it's a good sound effect of like, oh yeah, hey, they know you're typing.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So we are back from our break,
Yeah.
and we are going to go into the weekly challenge, which this week was to create an occult research team that not only needed to research the occult, but also be able to fight the creatures of the occult. Who wanted to start?
I'll start.
You-
Yeah, Yanni can start. We go mechanical questions.
This one was quite difficult for me because I don't watch many occult paranormal anime.
feel like I did alright. So I've got 2 investigators and 3 fighters. One is Al from Death Note.
Okay.
Not a
Yeah.
bad one,
He's
yeah.
quite smart, logical, right? But like to be honest, it kind of falls apart when it comes to investigating the paranormal. We haven't really seen him do that because you know. But he's smart, so if he was put in that situation and explained, this is what we're hunting. Can you help us? Maybe he'd be able to assist them in a way. My second detective is Osamu Dazai from Bungo Stray Dogs. None of you know him.
I got recommended the anime, but I never saw the anime.
Nor did I.
He's quite smart.
Yeah.
He's very perceptive. Right?
Yeah. As detectives usually are.
Yeah. He's very perceptive, and he's also able to negate any ability that someone has just by touching them.
Okay.
I know that probably won't help in a paranormal setting.
No, that could probably be useful because like a lot of these monsters and stuff have like supernatural powers and stuff. So it's like if he touches them, boom, powers.
Yeah, as long as he has skin to skin contact, he can.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't have to be skin to skin, but like touching them.
Yeah, it's not skin to skin if you're up against like a ghost or something. Continue. Yeah.
My next one is Kamado Tanjiro from Demon Slayer. He
Kompachira Kamaboko.
What?
Well, Inosuke calls him because he doesn't remember his name.
No, he does. He's just messing with.
I don't
So,
know.
Does he? I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's just like, oh yeah, come on, Boko.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least from what I've seen, and I haven't seen a lot, but continue. Yeah.
So yeah, Kamado Tanjiro, he's got a lot of skills in swordsmanship.
He has a sword.
He has a sword. He can kill demons.
His superpower is sword.
Yeah, he's able to perform water and fire magic
Mm-hmm.
using that sword and commands.
That's what we know so far.
Yeah, so he's quite adept at swordsmanship, I guess, from what I've seen in the anime. So I feel like he'd be a good offensive character.
Well, he also comes from an anime called Demon Slayer.
Exactly.
So I think
he has a sword that's
he
crafted
kills
to kill demons.
demons, so he's a very good choice for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My fourth one is Naofumi from Shield Hero because he's mainly a defensive character that could complement the offensive characters.
Not to mention potion making and all that.
Potion making. He can also turn into the Rage Shield. He can use the Rage Shield if he feels like he's about to die or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he's great at defense. He can complement the others. Anyway,
Continue.
the fifth character that I've got is Angel from Angel Beats.
Oh, I thought you meant from One Punch Man.
No, you guys have seen Angel Beats, yeah?
Yeah.
No, it was a long time ago, so I just remember it was very fusey, and
Yeah.
Okay, well, Angel has a lot of abilities, both offensive and defensive. She specializes in both, to be honest. She has a lot of like hand-to-hand combat abilities that she can use, like a sword that comes out of her arm.
Oh yeah. She's quite strong. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't actually have her abilities. Oh, but she's very good at fighting in a range of scenarios. She could probably find an ability that works for her against an opponent. Probably not ghosts though.
I mean,
maybe.
look, because she lives in like the afterlife. Because of that, spoiler alert for those who haven't seen the anime, but everybody in that show is dead.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
Yes.
she can't die. Oh,
No.
she can't die.
I mean, they're all in like a state of limbo or some shit. But if they're all undead, they're all ghosts. Does that mean her weapons will work on undead?
possibly.
Maybe.
Who knows? They also in that anime they just make like guns and shit from like dirt or whatever. So yeah, that's a pretty handy ability. It's just like hand off guns to like everybody. I I'm not sure if she can. No, she can make a sword. Surely. Somebody correct me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, that's your team of 5.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think Mitch wants to go next.
No, go on.
Are we going clockwise there?
Yeah, I guess we can.
Yeah.
I'll send it to the group again.
Ooh, okay. Let's take a look at these pictures.
I like it.
If you don't have a shanty man, I'm gonna.
It's not a pirate ship.
You always need a shanty man.
One of them can sing, I guess.
Okay.
Let's take a look here.
Yeah, so let's go with the first one from last week, the scientist from Mars Red. I don't know his extent of research and like he's a vampire, so he's part of the paranormal part of it. But yeah, I think he'll be a good addition to researching monsters and stuff.
Yeah.
You got Mayuri
Kurosuchi.
that's it. I knew his last name. I searched it and then I remembered it was Mayuri, and now I forgot his last name and I said his first name.
Yeah. Egyptian looking dude from Bleach.
Yeah. Good old crazy lad.
He's definitely equipped with a lot of research and development in destroying monsters and things like that.
He's also equipped with the yuckiest teeth.
Yeah, I don't know. Like he changes his form a lot.
Teeth.
They're his real teeth?
I think he just doesn't.
They're not
bother.
his real teeth.
No.
Why are his teeth yellow?
Because you see him at one point where he's like, before he became the captain, when Thingo first recruited him, and he just looks like just a regular blue-haired anime character.
So what the fuck?
He's just crazy, right?
I know he's crazy.
I mean, at one point he removes literally all of his own organs and replaces them with fake ones, and then keeps his own organs safe just in case.
Easy, cool.
Well, technically, if
What
he
do they
gets
call
killed,
that?
he just turns into a pile of mush and then finds a way to revive himself.
Yeah, he's pretty OP.
Yeah, he's basically immortal. Yeah, he'd probably be so fascinated with trying to find all these monsters. So
I'd say because it's a spirit form that he has. He can't actually, he can interact with the human world, but the human world can't see him. Is that
yeah,
right?
but it's basically
No, unless he's in a Gigai.
yeah, he could be in a Gigai or I'm guessing anyone with a type of ability would have the aura that kind of connects with any other anime. So you can see spirits or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
most of these could probably figure it out. Not so much about Zuko, but I guess Zuko I chose as my my tracker because he can definitely track down
Yes.
Aang easily.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, he's a good fighter. He's a great tracker.
Yeah. Skills and swords.
Yeah, he can track the monsters they're hunting. Same thing with Scar, and he's also the offense of the whole thing.
Yeah. Is this Scar with one tattooed arm or 2 tattooed arms?
I would say 2 tattooed arms.
Okay, so then
Final form Scar.
Yeah, final
Final
form
form.
Scar. So he can destroy stuff and then he can make stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it makes him definitely a better fighter.
Oh, it definitely does. Yeah.
It brings his peace compared to what he was when he was raging about his family dying and stuff.
Yeah. I guess you don't want anybody to have some sort of inner turmoil when you're up against ghosts or
especially
vampires or something.
didn't want to pick young Zuko if he was a part of this team. He'd always just be annoyed with everyone's choices.
Oh, so you want Fire Lord Zuko?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are we going with I'm gonna capture the Avatar to hey guys, Zuko here.
Exactly.
That's rough, buddy.
Yeah, we're going with this is rough buddy Zuko.
Yep. Look, older Fire Lord Zuko is cool and all, he has a dragon and all that, but I'd say he's at retirement age, and I don't think would be a good suit. He probably lost all his fighting ability.
Nah, surely not.
He's probably still strong, but
yeah,
probably 20s to 30s Zuko.
yeah.
If I were to pick an age.
Is he the world's strongest firebender? Do we know? I mean, besides avatars. Like he knows the secret of firebending through the dragons and whatnot, but
There's probably some out there, but they just don't get shown.
he's no combustion bender.
No.
Sparky boom man, for real.
And my last is Kurapika from Hunter x Hunter.
That's what
let's have a hypothetical for now. He doesn't have the bond to that chain for the spiders, and he bonds to supernatural or like a specific monster he could only hunt, and then he can tie him down and trap them. Like he's a trapper and holds the.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is his sorry, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen a lot of anime, but his chain is specifically attuned to hurt spiders.
Okay, so it's not so much a spider.
So there's a criminal group called Phantom Troop, and essentially, you found this out early in the series, but essentially, Phantom Troop killed his entire clan.
Yeah.
And so when they finally get to the point where they all start, learning the whole Nen powers, which is like one of the main themes of Hunter x Hunter. Essentially, if you put a restriction on your power, so it can only be used in a certain circumstance, the power increases depending on how strong the restriction is.
Okay.
So he's put a restriction on 90% of his powers that they can only be used against Phantom Troop. So therefore, because they can only be used on this specific group of 12 people, the power of it increases by like 100%.
Okay.
And they're also called the spider.
Like he's got the two, because he's got 5 chains as he calls them.
Yeah.
And I think off memory, he can 3 of them he's made specifically for fighting the spiders, and 2 of them he can use on anyone. But he's more fueled by vengeance rather than anything else. So he doesn't really.
I'm not sure he'd be such a good mashup just with that lore. But if we're doing the hypothetical thing where he's like, instead of Phantom Troop, then he's put like 90% of his power into fighting the supernatural shit.
Yeah.
Then that's a different story.
I mean, he's still a martial arts specialist, and he's still got like even before he gets his Nen abilities, he's still really strong.
Yeah.
So he'd be useful, but not necessarily against all yokai that he goes against.
Like Yanni said, this one was a hard one for me as well. He was my last pick, and I really couldn't think of many others that can help. Like, I could always go with a god pick with like Saitama or Kuro Sensei, but
I feel like that'd just be
it's just like
a waste.
Yeah, or it's a waste, and it's also like sort of giving up and not really thinking about it, and just like here's a god character.
Yeah, like he's a character you don't have to think about. You could just like enter them in, like it's like, oh yeah, you need to throw a like pick 5 characters to go into the sun or whatever, like or like do something trivial, like maybe I should say like hold a boat, and then he's like, yeah, I'm gonna pick these 5 characters because like they're overpowered and they'll just do it. Yeah. All right, so that's your team.
Yeah.
All right, I'll load up mine. All right, occult investigation team. So I have, of my 5 members, I have a detective, I have a demon specialist, I have a monster specialist, and I have a yokai specialist, and then I have a support person. So my detective is Maze Hughes from Full Metal Alchemist.
Huh.
So he does die pretty early on, but in the series he figures out the plot for the rest of the show, and then he dies. Like, he just by using the data that was given to him in like the paperwork and everything, he was he could piece together this super big plot that involved the entire country, and then he got hunted down for it. That shows like, dedication to his work, his intuition, his perception. He's a very good detective. He's a good police officer and everything, even though he's a part of the military. And he works with alchemists and stuff. He's not an alchemist himself, but he knows these kind of like semi-magical things.
So if he was put into a occult team, he could
Yeah, he'd catch on pretty quick.
Yeah.
Also, he fucking loves his wife, so I had to pick him. His wife and daughter. Demon Specialist, I've gone with Yukio Okamura from Blue Exorcist. Has anybody seen that?
Yes.
Yes?
That's the main guy, yeah? Or is that his brother?
Brother.
No, his brother. The one with the glasses. But yeah, he's really good with firearms. He does kind of like the Hellboy thing where he loads up his bullets to have specific properties that are like good against demons, like filling them with like iron filings and doing all that holy water stuff. He's also brilliant. He was my second up for detective, but he's just smart and intuitive, and you know he acts as a teacher when he's like 16. He's really smart, and he can, if the detective ever goes down, Yukio can act as a backup, but also he's just a really good fighter and knows his way about demons. Considering he's part demon himself. Spoiler. Yeah. My monster specialist is Trevor Belmont from the Castlevania animated series.
See, I was thinking Castlevania, and like if I just picked a random dude from there, because like I haven't seen it, and
Yeah.
I didn't want to just be like, oh yeah, he's a vampire type thing.
No, he's not a vampire. He's one of the vampire hunters.
Okay.
But in that show, he ends up having to fight all kinds of monsters that get spawned by Dracula.
Okay.
I think he fights like ogres and demons, and he fights these like winged furies and stuff, and basically like he has this experience in fighting all these monsters, but he also has this entire family history of fighting monsters. He has this background of knowledge and expertise where he can fight literally anything as long as it's like physical. And he's equipped. He has like all these weapons, like the Morning Star. He's got these like axes he can throw and everything. He's really good against, like, he'll be a good match for any kind of physical monster you come up against. Like vampires, he'll be good. He fucking fights Dracula and Alucard and comes out alive, which is awesome. He fights ogres, mummies, zombies, all these kinds of like ghouls and fiends and stuff. Yeah, he's a really good monster hunter.
See, like, I was thinking on the lines of that, and I was thinking Castlevania, but I haven't seen it. And also, if only Supernatural was an anime, I would have picked Dean Winchester in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Like, he's a great hunter. He knows how to kill all types of monsters. Even if it was a different situation, he'll try to find the way to kill the monster and kill it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say one of his things though is he's got a pretty bleak outlook on life, at least at the start of the show. So he's kind of like thrown out because of the church. Like he's kind of like an outcast in society. So maybe post that where he's like bonded with a team. So hopefully Mace Hughes because he's so positive and everything, and Yukio because he's so like smart and on point, and he's supportive as well in his role as a teacher, that they can boost him up a bit. Next, this pick, yokai specialist. I've got Nathan Adams from Yokai Watch. Used to watch it when like in front of the TV on weekends and stuff. But under the impression that not all yokai are bad, but they are also everywhere. So this guy, it's a kid anime, so he has this yokai watch, and he basically like befriends and captures yokai, and then he can use them again. And I'm not having him in the team with a specific yokai, but like if there's a yokai about, he can befriend it, use his abilities in order to fight these other monsters, like anything like shadowy or occulty or whatever. So he kind of acts as he does also have a positive outlook. Part of the team, he is a kid, so he's not as experienced, but his like natural friendliness and knowledge towards these yokai might probably help in the situation and improve situations that don't necessarily involve yokai. Like if there's a monster outbreak of zombies, he might be able to like, oh, there's a fire yokai over there that I see, I'm just going to befriend that and he's going to help us. He's pretty cool. Next, my support person is Aqua from Konosuba. So
I knew.
yeah, I had to. So yes, she's friendly. Like, she's got the stigma of being absolutely useless. But you see in the show, whenever there's something like demonic or devilish or undead in the area, she goes from, like, lazy bum who doesn't want to do anything to full badass. Like, it is... One of those things is a complete... Like, she can't stand it. She has to fight it, you know? She has the powers of, like, you know, God Blow, and, like, she can punch these things to death. She also, like... But I've taken her as a support role because she can make these, like, magic circles to ward them away. She can purify food and water. She can heal people, heal curses away from the team. She acts in a really good support role in that role. She can also, like, see in pitch blackness. She's really good. She doesn't even have to, like... She's not inhibited by the dark or by any of this, like, spooky, culty, scary thing at all. And, just her positive outlook would also benefit the team. Like, you can't have... Like I was saying before, if you're investigating the occult or the supernatural or anything, you can't have a bleak outlook on life. So aside from my one character who gets over it eventually in his show, they are all pretty much like a happy, cheery bunch of folks that will go about their day kicking supernatural ass.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's my team. Yeah.
So my team is pretty much everything you guys said not to have a team.
Oh my goodness.
Alright, let's see how this goes.
Alright, so for my team leader, I took Koyomi Aragi from Monogatari. One, because he's quite experienced in dealing with the occult and yokai and all that kinds of stuff. He's also a half vampire.
Yes.
He's got a healing factor, which does weaken if he doesn't drink blood regularly from Shinobu, who's like the vampire that gave him his powers or whatever.
So, I haven't seen the shows. So, he is like a kind of half vampire powers, but only because he's eating vampire?
Because she, like... I can't remember specifically what happens, but he, like, encounters her or something, and she feeds on him or something like that, and then, like, I think he dies? And then, like, she brings him back or whatever, but, like, he's sort of in a half vampire state, so to keep his, like, regeneration factor at its fullest, he needs to drink regularly from her or whatever.
Okay. It could be detrimental on a long mission, but... Yeah.
He's also got a strong sense of justice, which does fade at one point because of a particular curse he's dealing with. But, and the cons of him is he is a bit too laid back at times and does, you know, sort of fuck around a little bit, especially when he's interacting with this one particular character. And he does quite often sacrifice himself or put himself in the way of harm. To like help those that he cares about or help those in need.
Okay. That's, I mean, as a leader, you probably don't want to be sacrificing yourself.
Yeah, but he's probably the most experienced at dealing with occult out of the entire team. So
okay.
And like on his own, he's, you know, solved like many cases of like dealing with curses and the occult and stuff. So
yeah, sacrificing yourself kind of means like you lose that leadership. Yeah.
As team researcher, I've taken Levy McGarden from Fairy Tail. So she's got a magic item called the Gale Force reading glasses. So anyone who's wearing Gale Force reading glasses can pretty much read an entire novel in the span of a few minutes.
I want to learn. I want to use that.
Which
so good.
Would allow her to conduct research from like old texts and stuff at an extremely fast rate. She's also extremely smart. She's a bookworm, so she enjoys reading books and studying and all that. She's a linguist. I think they say at one point that she's fluent in 13 languages, including 5 ancient forgotten languages.
Wow. Yeah.
And she's, because in Fairy Tail, everyone's got their own, like, sort of mostly unique magic. She uses word magic. So she'll... you know, write in the air a word, and then it like happens. So if she writes hole, a hole in the ground will appear.
Huh.
I see.
I was gonna say, isn't most magic wordy? Just like you have to shout spells.
No,
and
it's
stuff?
just like pretty much literally the word that she writes happens.
Yeah.
The cons of her is she prefers not to fight, but that's why I put her in the researcher role. So she like sort of gives the rest of the team the information they need to, go and deal with what's happening.
That's pretty good.
For the team tracker, I've taken Soe from Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. I've taken him because he's fast, he's stealthy, he's got spatial travel, he's got magic sense, which allows him to have 360 field of vision, and he's got a clone technique, so he can be in multiple places at once.
Yeah. The 360 vision would be very good against spooky jump scares.
Yeah, so he's essentially a shinobi, and I was reading the wiki, and they say that he's a Chinibyo, and he's like really into like being a shinobi in sort of the Chinibyo way of doing it.
So wait, he's too busy like acting as like a shinobi or like this samurai character to. Wait,
no, like he does his job. Like he does his job as like the sort of the group's like sort of tracker and information gatherer. So
yeah,
Levy would do the research. They'd send him out. He'd gather the information, come back, and then they'd set up the going out to actually fight the thing.
So he just takes his job too seriously, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, that's not a bad thing.
As the team striker, which is going to be the group's main combatant against monsters and stuff, I've taken Keiji Onizuka from Terraformers. So in Terraformers, they fight these big giant cockroach monsters, which are like super strong. Before Keiji got his gene upgrade thingy that they do, he was an experienced boxer. He was the world lightweight champion at one point. After his genetic mutation surgery, he's been given the powers of a mantis shrimp. So while he's transformed, he's got an extremely durable exoskeleton. He can regenerate lost limbs. He can see in fields of light running from infrared all the way through ultraviolet. And he has the punch of mantis shrimp, which they are known for. They punch so hard and fast that they actually boil the water behind their punch.
Yeah.
So he's got like one of the strongest punching forces of any of the characters in Terraformers. He manages to punch through one of the Terraformers that's in the series is like the hardest one's armor, which all of the others were having trouble with. The cons is that he is reliant on the transformation drug. And that if they transform or they take too much of the transformation drug in a short period of time, they then sort of start to mutate into more of a, animalistic version of themselves and will eventually die because of an overdose.
So they turn into bugs.
Yeah, eventually, or whatever the species that they were.
I do have a. I not to go away from your topic or whatever, but I remember reading an article that was like, mantis shrimp have these like eyes that can see all these spectrums and stuff that we don't even know. But then I think it came out recently that like, mantis shrimp don't actually see that good. Like they've got like the 12 different optical nerves, but they need one for each color or whatever. Yeah. So I mean, it's like.
Well, he's still got his regular eyes at the same time as having the like extra field of vision thingy. So.
I'm not like because he's got his abilities. Yeah, he can absolutely see in the infrared to ultraviolet. I just like wanted to bring up that like it was cool. That not cool. I guess like I found it fascinating that like they took the mantis shrimp and like gave it this whole thing. They're like, you can see everything, but it just sees as normal because its eyes are just a little bit better than a bug's.
And as my last person, for my Psycho, I have taken Shigeo Kageyama, also known as Mob, from Mob Psycho 100. So his sole purpose in the team is to deal with ghosts and the type of enemies that the others can't hit because they're...
Incorporeal?
Yeah, that's the word.
That's the word.
So Mob is known in the series as being the most powerful Psycho that they've ever encountered. He can see ghosts. He becomes more powerful the more his emotions are tested. So the whole thing with Mob Psycho 100 is as the days go on, his sort of emotional state sort of starts to build up and build up and build up, and then like it's It essentially bursts, and then he becomes extremely powerful for a short duration. But in situations where he's like in a really serious fight or whatever, it keeps bursting. So he keeps building up to that 100% over and over and over.
Yeah.
And there's one fight where he gets up to 1,000% and becomes super OP.
Okay.
The cons, he's got very, very low physical ability and stamina. So in the series, he joins the bodybuilding club because he wants to get, slightly better physically, because he can barely run like 10 meters before being completely out of breath.
Oh, he's that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought like...
So like they go on runs and like all the bodybuilder guys are just casually jogging along and they're all fine, and you just see him trailing like 100 meters behind, just like, oh, I'm dying.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought like, oh yeah, he's a kid, like he might have the same similar like physical thing as like my Yokai Watch character that I picked, but like nah, this guy's...
And they're
really
doing like
bad.
dumbbells and he's like struggling to lift a 1 kilo dumbbell. He's just like, oh.
Wow, that's actually really bad.
Fucking bad.
How does he live?
I don't know. But, you have like strong characters in his team that can get him to where he needs to be and use him to, well, not use him, but have him fight the sort of ghosts and shit that they run into. Oh, and one more con of him is he's very gullible.
Yeah.
Like his master is literally a scam artist, and
Oh god. Okay.
he doesn't believe in that psychic powers are real, but like Mob thinks that his master's like the most powerful psyker in existence. And he's just like, oh my god, you're so smart, master. Oh, the reason you can't see these ghosts because you're too powerful to know that they're there. Oh my god.
That's like King of One Punch Man.
It's literally a comedy, but it's great.
Right, fair enough.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that wraps up this week's challenge.
Yeah.
Next week, we are watching Dragon Goes House Hunting.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to this one.
Interesting.
And the challenge we are doing was you need to make an adventuring party of 4 party members. So as normal, you can't use characters you've already used. You can't use more than one character from an individual series. And in this one, we have an additional rule that characters do get their full powers and whatever, but they don't get any technology that's more advanced than the Renaissance era.
So no mecha.
So you can't bring any mecha with you now.
Curses! You foiled my plan. Yes, it's an adventuring party, but I'm just bringing Gundams.
Yeah, and that's it for this week.
So, what happens if it's the My Hero Academia character that can just spawn shit? It's an ability. She's not taking the technology.
Yeah, but she in that case, she'd only be able to create stuff from before the Renaissance era. So she can make swords, she can make black powder cannons and stuff.
Yeah.
But
She does that anyways.